Before we dive into the story, take a look at these real photos from the crime scene. In the remote Bavarian countryside, there stood a small, isolated farm known as Hinterkaifeck. Andreas Gruber, his wife Cecilia, their daughter Victoria, and 2 grandchildren lived quietly on this land, along with their maid. For months, strange events had unsettled the farm. Unexplained noises echoed from the attic, mysterious footprints appeared in the snow, and a newspaper arrived without explanation. The locals whispered of a haunted farmstead, but no one truly understood the darkness that loomed ahead. Days before the end of March 1922, Andreas reported seeing footprints leading from the forest to a broken door in the machine room. On one eerie night, he heard footsteps in the attic, but found nothing. Despite these unsettling events, he refused help and told no one of the growing fear that surrounded his home. On March 31st, a new maid arrived, escorted briefly by her sister. The family seemed tense but carried on with daily life. That night, the calm of the farm would be shattered forever. In the late evening, the killer lured the family members one by one to the barn. Andreas, Cecilia, Victoria, and young Cecilia were bludgeoned with a mattock, a heavy farming tool. Inside the house, the youngest child, Joseph, and the maid Maria were struck down as they slept. The killer remained on the farm for days, interacting with the scene as if daring the world to uncover the horror within. It wasn't until April 4th that anyone discovered the tragedy. Local mechanic Albert Hoffner reported seeing no one on the property. Later, villagers entered the barn and the house, finding the bodies of all 6 victims. The scene was horrific, bloodied, stacked, and partially hidden, as if the killer had taken care to obscure the crime. Detectives arrived and began their investigation, but they were met with confusion. Evidence showed that someone had lived in the barn and house for days after the murders. Bread had been eaten, animals cared for, and the killer had left behind traces of movement, yet no identity was found. The murder weapon, a mattock, was later discovered hidden in a false floor space above the kitchen. Many suspects emerged: locals, traveling craftsmen, and even members of the family itself. Some whispered that Andreas Gruber had committed the murders in a sudden rage, others believed outside intruders were responsible. Years later, theories even suggested a connection to an American murderer known as Paul Mueller, whose grisly axe crimes mirrored those at Hinterkaifeck. Despite thorough questioning and decades of speculation, the crime remained unsolved. Hinterkaifeck was demolished, and the tragic story of the Gruber family faded into local legend. Yet the chilling events continue to fascinate those who study the unknown, reminding us that some mysteries never truly die. The snow still blankets the fields where the Grubers once lived, silent and indifferent. Only the whispers of history tell the tale of a family destroyed in their own home, leaving behind a haunting legacy that remains unsolved, even today.